In this video, I will show you how to import data from an RSS feed into Airtable using Byteline. And we will also handle updates and deletes. So if any existing RSS record changes, so we'll find the matching record and update that in Airtable. And if there is any deletion in the RSS records, so the matching records will be deleted from Airtable as well. Okay, so for the setup, so this is Hacker News, and we are gonna get its data using RSS feed. And in Airtable, I have this table with just three columns: title, link, and description. Okay, so let's start building the flow. So this is Byteline console, and we will add a new flow. For the trigger, we're gonna pick RSS trigger. So whenever the RSS data polls, so it's gonna this trigger will it will be invoked and it will execute the flow. So let's configure this trigger. So the first thing is feed URL, and here is a web page with all the RSS feed URLs for Hacker News. So I'm gonna copy that here. There is no username password for this feed, and the poll period is 15 minutes, just the default. And we're gonna use all RSS items. And I'm gonna limit the number of items to 10, just for to keep the video short. And then you can also uncheck this button, use all RSS items. So in that case, only the items that have changed in the poll period will be used. Okay, so now let's save this. And now let's add the next node, Airtable update records. So let's configure this. First thing is the Airtable base ID. So you can click on this button and pick your base and then copy the base ID here. And then the table name is news. So now this will auto complete and show all the Airtable columns. So these are the columns that I have. So before we configure this column mapping, the important step is configuring this loop over. So what this means is that you want to execute this task once for each RSS record. So, and then from the drop down, just select the node from which you want to use the loop data. So in this case, RSS trigger. So now let's configure the mapping. So on the left, we have Airtable columns, and on the right, the byteline expression that you will use for the mapping. And what you can do is click on the small button to open all the data we have. So the first thing is title. And then for link, I'm going to pick this value. And this is the data that we got from the RSS feed. So it's just showing a sample data for to help you pick up the right expression. And this is the description. Okay, so now to handle updates, um, so you need to go to the advanced section, and there we have like updates and deletes. So we can do override for updates, but the important question is how will it figure out that how the record should be matched. So you have RSS data and you have Airtable data. So we need some logic on matching the records so that it can figure out whether the row already exists or not. And for that, we Byteline has a concept of the primary keys, and the way it works is so you can go to any of these columns and click on this key button to mark that field as primary. So we're gonna do that for links because links are kind of unique, and that way we can find matching records. Okay, so now let's save this and do a test run. Okay, so we got we got 9 inserts and 1 update. So 1 update because I already had 1 row in the table with the existing link. So we got this 10 rows. We have the title, link, and the description. Even though it seems empty, but when you click on it, the description is there. It's just that the initial part is maybe a new line. So we got all this data. Now let's go back to the flow. So now I want to show you how update works. So now, for example, let me change the title of this to something else so that we know. I'm gonna add just test word to the beginning of the title, and when we run the flow again, it's gonna update this row with the correct title. So now we got 10 updates, and if we look at the data, so see this title changed to the correct one. It removed that test word. So that was update. So now let's talk about the deletes. So with this Airtable task, we also support deletes. So all you have to do is just go here and select delete. But the important thing for deletes is that you need all the data from the RSS feed so that we can compare what got deleted from the RSS feed and what data we want to delete from Airtable. Okay, so for that, it's important that in the RSS feed you have this button checked, use all RSS items, because you don't want it to delete some unintentional items. Okay, so now to test it out, let's add a new row here so that we have something extra to test our delete logic. So now when we run the flow again, so it should delete this row. So see, it deleted one record, and now if we go to the Airtable, so that record is gone. So that's the power of our Airtable update task, and we have similar tasks for all the common integrations. For example, Webflow CMS or Infinity or NAC. So all these integrations follow the same structure. Okay, so thanks for watching the video, and let us know if you have any question.